Hello and welcome to the first in 6 videos in this Sacrifice Skirmish series. Today we're playing as Shakti, who is representing the goddess Persephone. Now, if you're not familiar with this game, I'm gonna attempt to do a little bit of a rundown of what I'm doing while I'm doing it, while at the same time trying to pay enough attention to do a decent job of it. I've turned up the experience gain rate for this match because basically the purpose is that I want to show off the higher end stuff, which doesn't always come quickly if you're playing the campaigns. So first things first, these mana fountains are natural sources of the magical mana, which is basically what you would expect from any other fantasy tropes for the franchises. It's the material or the resource which allows you to cast magical spells and summon creatures. Two other major resources involved with the wizard and staying alive. This is the wizard, by the way. That's your wizard, and you fight enemy wizards. Is health, which is pretty self-explanatory. If that drops to 0, you die. It's not the end of the game, however, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And then there's souls, and souls are the most interesting resource in Sacrifice, and the most crucial. So, this is a hostile or heathen soul. It's going to need a little bit of work to bring it over to our side so that I can stitch it back into another creature's body to suit my purposes. I like how kind of blasé everybody is in this game about soul harvesting. It gives a real feeling of, should we say, karmic doom? I mean, Persephone, right? Persephone is ostensibly the goddess of, well, she would say goodness. She's the nice one, really. But she still traffics in souls in the same way as all of the other gods. And so I think really the best way she could be described is as the yang to Charnel's yin. Charnel being the god of death, torture, destruction, probably sadism, I don't know. So anyway, I'm currently at level 1, and every god starts out with certain stuff in common. Different wizards serving different gods can construct different spellbooks. So the fact that we're serving purely Persephone this time, I'm starting off with Persephone's first level units and spells. So every god has these guys in common, the mana whores, and I will come back to that in a minute. I'm actually going to add another one just now.
Your group 1.
Putting them in group 1, and that's the standard kind of RTS group controls you might expect. Control and then a number assigns a group, and then the number key itself recalls that group. We also have every god at first level starts with 3 combat units. So there's melee units, in this case the druid, the Persephone.
Your group 2.
I'm going to put them up front. Secondly, there's the rangers, so the ranged unit. And then thirdly are the shrikes, which are our flyers.
Your group 3.
So there's always this rock paper scissors kind of thing going on with first level units. That means that the most important thing when you're deciding what creatures to summon is trying to figure out what your enemy's unit composition is going to be. And often the best way to do that is just to take a little peek. So this level is called Triads and is set in Persephone's realm of Elysium. Now, I really should have run up to the center there. I think I've put myself at a strong disadvantage. This is a 3-way fight, and it's a free-for-all, so there's no teams assigned here. This is a hostile altar for the wizard Vidar. I believe he's serving Charnel today. That's right. Somebody has taken the center. Yeah, that's him as well. So it looks like yellow has claimed the middle already, and those peasants that I harvested over there back towards my altar, there's going to be kind of a duplicate of that little village next to each of the hostile altars as well, and I believe probably find a similar thing going on in the middle of the map. Unfortunately, I've kind of missed out on that, so I wonder if we can intercept any of that. So we've got a couple of melee units over here. It doesn't look like the wizard's around right now. That over there is a sack doctor who's taking one of the harvested units to Vidar's altar. So I'm going to see if I can intercept and redirect that soul back to my control. So the way that the sack doctors work, and don't ask me who they are or where they come from, I frankly don't want to know. They take a recently killed creature, stitch its soul back into its body, reviving it in the process. They pick it up off the battlefield and then they take it back to the altar of the wizard who has requested the conversion. And then a little ritual begins, which I should be able to disrupt here handily. I'm just a little low on mana at the moment. So you can see that the flyers are making short work of these melee troops because really they can't counter them at all. Take this locust out of the picture. Looks like they did that as well. So yeah, all of these now, so long as the enemy wizard doesn't come over here,
Group 1.
and it could really happen any time. I've got as much time as I need to harvest these right up until that point. Which point I may be bugging out relatively quickly because my army isn't
Group 4.
massive. And they have the defender's advantage here, which is not something to sniff at.
Group 4. Attack that building.
Okay, I see them on the hillside there. See some magic going on. Damn, that's I really should have thought about this.
Attack that building.
For Telluria.
Attack that building.
Spreading the word.
He might make it home. Looks like he's making decent progress. So that guy needs to get back to my altar, and obviously I took the side route here. But he's just going straight through the middle, which seems to have worked on him, surprisingly enough. Fingers crossed. Right, this should help a little bit. So you can see I've kind of been lagging a little bit on mana. The range from these manoliths, which I've been constructing, is what informs how quickly I'm able to receive mana from these mana whores. So that's what, which is a funny name when you think about it. I don't know if you can tell that little stream above their heads just got a little bit more intense. They channel mana from your friendly manoliths, which you've constructed. Fountains themselves, when they don't have anything on top of them, you can just stand next to them and absorb mana and health constantly. Building a manolith on top of it makes sure, firstly, that that mana is only available for you when you're stood next to it, and secondly, it transmits it to your mana horse as well. So it's crucial for operating in the field.
Into the breach.
You can mount a reasonable defense and summon creatures and stuff at home if you... okay. I now have the ability to construct a shrine, so I'm going to consider doing that now. Yeah.
Attack that building.
Spreading the word.
Really, I'm surprised that the enemy wizard hasn't come back to their altar. They must be engaged with the third wizard, who I haven't spotted yet. Their altar's going to be over in this direction. Yeah, they must be preoccupied. But seriously, I mean, this is Vidar's HQ building basically, and that once that's destroyed through a process called desecration, Vidar's banished. He can't come back. Oh, these guys use up mana while they're firing, by the way. So once we come into range, you should see those blue bars starting to fill up again. Right. This time, instead of a manolith, I'm building a shrine. This means that the souls converted in the battlefield, instead of being taken back to the altar for the conversion, they're going to come here, which is kind of like a mini altar. Doesn't do the same thing that the manolith does, i.e. it doesn't transmit any mana anywhere. But it does mean that my doctors don't have to take the trip all the way across the map to get home. Here's another one of Vidar's incoming souls. I really ought to try and get as many of his as possible. So that's a mana whore. That's a mana whore owned by the other wizard.
Attack.
Spreading the word.
Let's keep hold of him. So Grasping Vines is one of Persephone's, I think, level 3 spells, which obviously holds him in place. So there's that conversion ritual going on, and you should see my soul counter increment once that's completed. Okay, up to 7. So all of these sides lying on the ground, these all belong to Vidar. That peasant there is a neutral unit. And this manor belongs to... Oh, I can't quite get a scope on that. Fargol is the name of the other wizard. This is Fargol's manor. Fargol is just up there. So I've got a couple of scant moments to get as many souls out of this as I can, and then I should head home and build up my army again, because I got a lot of souls in the bank, as it were. I have a teleport spell handy. You can teleport to any one of your friendly buildings. It takes all units in a certain range around you. Okay, Fargol's gradually moving closer. Let's see if I can get these other 2 sides as well. Oh. Seems to have held off the fight. Fight in range. Zap this guy out of the sky. So this spell is called Wrath. This is Persephone's direct attack spell, which comes at level 1. Every god has one of those as well, and they work in quite different ways actually. Some of them are projectiles. I think, yeah, I think all of them except Stratos' spells, projectiles. Spell, I should say, which is lightning. Now that's Vidar. That's Vidar even. That's Vidar himself. So he just picked up that soul that was still lingering over there from that dead scythe. He's going to start summoning some stuff. I could destroy him right now, potentially. I am actually going to... This is... I think I've really kind of done a number on his resources by causing all this trouble back here. So he's just created a single scythe. He doesn't have any mana whores yet, so that means he's going to be operating at pretty diminished capacity. Fargol's in the process of doing more conversions over there. You just saw one of the doctors spilling out of a port. I'm going to add some more units on, and then I'm going to begin this desecration. We're going to get this done. Gnomes are ranged units. They're much more accurate than the rangers. Don't think you're gonna win this one, buddy. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I'm gonna put all of the ranged units in the same group. So the fact that that's a red soul to me, obviously it's one of Vidar's units, so actually it's a blue soul to him, meaning he can just walk straight over it and pick it up, because it's already allied to him. So it doesn't need any conversion. I've got a few other units here ready to use when I start building up my rest of my army. Who's it going to be? A ranger. So a desecration is essentially the reverse of a conversion. Instead of taking an enemy soul from the battlefield, taking it back to your altar to add that soul to your pile, it takes one of your creatures and then takes the enemy altar as a sacrifice, which of course is where the game gets its name. Now that creature is tied to Vidar.
Group 4, guard me. Group 2, move.
Whenever that creature takes damage on the altar, he's going to take damage as well. And if he dies while this ritual's in progress, he's out. The altar's desecrated and he can't come back. It's game over for him. He doesn't look like he's going to make it. Goodbye, Vidar. So, it's just me and Fargol now. Any of Vidar's creatures that were still on the map will have died now.
Guard me.
Sallying forth.
Group 2,
Gnome reporting.
guard me.
Right away.
The ranger must have died at some point. I don't think I noticed that. Maybe I picked him up already. Did I only make... Yeah, I made 3... Oh, okay. There was a blue soul that I picked up. I kind of thought it was a shrike, but actually, I think all of those are present and accounted for. So, we've got gnomes. We've just unlocked the gremlin, who's a level... Let's see. Level 5 creature. And you see, he takes 3 souls. The gnomes take 2 themselves, as do the trolls. We need a little bit more melee might. Oh. Oh, I see what I've done.
I stand ready.
That's group 2. You're group 3. Okay.
Group 2.
So these guys, slow, stupid.
Go.
Move.
But as you can imagine, once they get to where they're going, they're relatively dangerous. That's what I'm looking for. Particularly for bashing down buildings and stuff. Gremlin's kind of similar, actually. Aha! Fargol's making a move on my altar. That is not going to pay off for you, my friend. Here we go. So, Fargol's following Pyro, and that was Pyro's first level damage spell, Fireball. Does what it says on the tin. Trolls versus Fire Fists. Now, this is interesting. Fire Fists are trolls who were abducted and then strapped up with all of this equipment by Pyro's minions, the factories. Turn them into something a little more dangerous. Let's see if I can sort him out. Ouch! Dragonfire. Very cool spell. It chains and goes around. You know, you got to appreciate when your enemy's got something good up their sleeve. Right, it looks like we managed to see him off for a second. I'm expecting him to reincarnate shortly, so let's see if we can just plug this. Damn, there's another one over there. Once he's died, if he returns to...
What?
Has that worked? It has. So this this ability called Web Pull just
Group 2. Guard me.
Oh, brilliant.
grabs an enemy creature and pulls it towards the gremlin. So
Group 2.
yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So what's happened there is his mana whores have been killed, and then he was killed himself. He had to retreat. Now he could have gone to any of these mana sources to reincarnate. He would just pull mana and health, and then he'd be back on the field. Decided not to. Decided to fly off elsewhere. Once you're dead, and it hasn't happened to me yet in this game, you turn into a sort of ghost, and you can whiz across the landscape. You can, thankfully, still give orders to your units, but you can't interact with anything else. Can't cast any spells. If you're dead when a desecration starts, by the way, you're immediately brought back to life.
Attack.
Funny.
Group 4. Attack.
For some
Into the
reason,
breach.
there's an artillery unit and a flying unit from Fargol just chilling over here. The bombard is pretty good, actually. I should say was. And this has 4 souls, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be a nice payday. So here's the thing about this hybrid genre we've got going on here. You can send your units as far across the map as you want. The thing is, if you're not around to collect them or keep them in place, then someone else is going to pick them up. And really, the best way to think of creatures is in terms of souls. If you start losing a fight, you need to do your best to get all of your souls out. It doesn't matter if the creatures die or not. You need to make sure that you've picked up the ones that are dead. That just means you haven't actually lost anything in the long term. Even if you then die and retreat, it's sort of not the end of the world at all.
Group 2. Guard me.
Well, he seems to have left this guy behind.
Attack. Group 4.
Aye.
Attack.
Into the breach.
Two souls over there. He's turned and fight. Fight. Fought. Fought. He's turned and fought. And then he died. It's a cool 3. I didn't get that bombard, by the way. Bargold just managed to get back in time to grab the souls. Speed up on the dock, always helpful. See, this is why I don't want to know where these people come from. I don't want to know where those syringes are made. They seem to, I don't know, be a little too enthusiastic about their jobs, you know what I mean? Love your work, yeah, but there's such a thing as too much of that. So I really need to get around to showing off some of these other spells I've got going on here. Since I've already killed off one of the wizards, I should go easy on this last guy in order to have some things to kill. So we've also got some new creatures available. Here's a mutant. The mutant is kind of Persephone's equivalent of that bombard. So this is the artillery unit. And
Life is yours.
I don't think he likes existing.
Please, leave me alone. Please. Oh, sure. Pick on the mutant. You think I'm some kind of animal, don't you? I'm not an animal.
So you say.
I am a... Well, I don't really know, actually.
So this guy is a long-range attack.
Kill them all!
I don't know what it is he's throwing, but it's pretty nasty.
Guard me.
If I must.
So a kind of a row of those guys, or any artillery unit, in fact, is going to be great at bombarding a fixed position. I do rate artillery units quite a lot.
Okay.
We also have the Ent, and he's an even beefier melee unit compared to the trolls.
What is thy wish? What do you need of me? What do you need of me? I have lived for ages.
Group 6.
So let's put them in line formation.
Guard me.
Pick up these other
Group 4.
swords.
Guard me. Guard me.
Like the shrikes. We have the ethereal form, which I haven't showed off yet. This is a level 2 spell. Every spell has this kind of defensive spell. Ethereal form is pretty good as they go. This prevents all incoming damage, I think. I don't know if you can still take magical damage, but certainly all physical damage is completely negated by this while it's active. So that's pretty good, in my humble
Group 2.
Persephone isn't
Yes.
typically
Your
what I
group
pick for first level,
Wedge
but
formation. Guard me.
Moving.
most of these creatures, I mean, it's sort of less so here.
What do you need
Yeah,
of me?
okay, so the Ent is an example of this. He has an upgraded version of what the Druid has. You might have spotted the life shields on those guys at a couple of points. But the Ent is actually able to put a shield around everybody nearby. That's his special ability, and a lot of Persephone's people are kind of like that. They specialize in healing and protection. So some of the spells follow that formula as well. Rainbow, for example, is a chain healing spell in the way that Dragonfire from Pyro is a chain damage spell. Which is neat. We also have Healing Aura, and this is the most healing spells that any god has. I think everybody else basically has just the one. Well, he looks in a sorry state, doesn't he? But I know he's got more than one soul, because he picked up that bombard. I definitely just took 3 off. So. This is called Rain of Frogs, which is Persephone's first area of effect spell. And he's not going to enjoy it. I don't know if he'll react, but essentially all of those little green blobs are tiny little frogs which will jump towards the nearest unit, blob onto them, and then blow up. This Mana Horse is going to have a bad time. Now we get a chance to show off the healing aura.
I feel no pain.
It's quite a statement. It's quite a claim. So you see that these guys are getting healed now just by being in the kind of radius. Oh, he's back.
Wodan, Denorum, Latu, Bovis. Wedge formation.
It's not what I meant to press.
Group 2,
If
guard
I
me.
must.
Ferox, Nikto, Kalpa. Kalpa, Domine,
Let's
Ferox.
see what work I can do with this.
Nostro, Vas, Krixa.
Moving.
Astadoc,
As you will it.
Domine, Vas, Flam, Firmithrax. Domine, Kazan, Firmithrax. Kinketsu, Rock, Ferox. Virata, Bovis, DM.
So that's that web pull again from the ground.
Astadoc, Helio.
Down he goes. Ah, okay, alright, this is good. I'm actually gonna leave him with these once they're dead. This red beam means that these creatures are set as guardians of the Manolith. The Manolith won't blow up until they're dead, and it even won't take any damage. It applies to the creatures directly. Although, it does mean you don't have to attack each one individually. I'm gonna let him have these souls back just so we got some targets. My guys are looking a little worse for wear, actually.
Flam, Animus, Gaza.
We now have the level 8 spells here, which is nice. We're not quite at level 9 just yet, so there's one more creature we're yet to have. Gonna add a couple of scarabs because we didn't look at these guys before. These are another healing option for Persephone's units. They fire this healing beam. Very cool little utility unit.
Your group 8.
I tend to stick them
Phalanx
just
formation.
behind the mana whores so they never get into the mix. Gremlins bought it.
Group 2,
If
guard
I
me.
must.
Yes, Kalpa, Gaza, Helio.
Alright.
Guard me.
Let's call everyone
6,
off
Guard me. Guard me. Kinketsu,
and see if we can't let him generate some more targets.
Group 2,
Yes.
Let's add melee group a little bit.
Virata, Elorum, Denorum, Visuartu, Sanct,
Benefit from a
Ferox,
second ent
Thorn,
and a third troll.
Thorn, Sanct, Nathrak. Your group 2,
Famous Hitchcock
wedge
film.
formation. Guard me.
Will go.
Group 4,
Four.
Gaza, Saxon.
Oh, I really thought there were more than... This guy got left behind. So it's a good sign that my Manolith's being attacked right now. It's not exactly getting destroyed, but...
Denorum, Wodan, Nostro. Carpe, Vas, Kinketsu. Your group 4, semicircle formation. Guard me.
This contextual right-click menu is quite deep. It has all of the kind of specific controls for creatures, and most of them formations. You can assign hotkeys to any one of these, but I've kind of memorized the positions of the formations. Right then. So these two final spells up here. Charm does what you might expect. It just brings a creature over to your side. Any creature of any size, from any god, in any scenario, so long as you don't get disrupted and they don't die during the casting and for a short period afterwards while it works its magic, so to speak, they'll just be yours. And it's not a temporary thing, it's permanent. So you can steal your enemy's most powerful units if they let you get a shot off with this. It has a relatively long cooldown and it takes 1800 mana, which is... Oh, you're not going to tell me my mana? I guess I have 1800. It's 1800 out of 1800. So it'll take everything in that mana bar to cast this. Mean Stalks is really where the fun happens. This is what I want a target-rich environment for, you see. It's a shame to waste otherwise. Okay, so he's created a bombard, which is fine. He's got a mana whore and a bombard, that's it. So instead of creating multiple small units, he's opted to create one big one, and he's not making any headway on
Group
that.
2.
I will go.
I wonder if... I don't think they're going to be in range of each other, unfortunately. I'm just bringing the everything that's behind at this point. This is being stalked. It's kind of like clay pigeon shooting. Just you set up your own traps. Never mind. He bought it anyway. They will actually pick up friendly units as well, so I really need to keep my distance. No. Disengage. Disengage.
May as well.
Saxo, Dothdel, Verata, Nikto, Carpe, Wodan, Dothdel.
So here's the final demo.
Denorum.
If I don't level up one more time, it's gonna be He just healed him up. Thanks for that, buddy. That man over there, he's a bad man. You should show him what you think of him. Yeah, that's good.
Attack.
Do it again.
Group 6. Attack!
I'll make them pay.
Oh, this is a little bit sad. I should put him out of his misery. The top level creature we haven't actually unlocked, which is a little bit lame. I probably should turn up the XP increment a little more. We'll get to see it in another fight. It's the dragon, and it's just a melee unit. He also happens to cast Grasping Vines on anything that he attacks. Packs a very substantial punch. Maybe I'll just have to follow this up with another video, including the dragon. This is needlessly cruel. I don't need to be dwelling on him at all. Come on, folks. Who's it gonna be? Thank you for volunteering by sort of being here. They sign a waiver, it's cool. So you know how this works by now. And now the desecration ritual is in progress. Ah. Guess what? Just leveled up.
Move!
That's the dragon. Isn't it glorious? Watch it swoop. You can kind of guess what he would have done. It's similar to the Ent, you know? He just packs a real heavy punch and is good for killing off buildings. 5 souls. And like I said, he traps people when he attacks them. His special ability is also pretty cool. You can resurrect fallen creatures without having to pick up the souls and re-summon them. It's a little bit fiddly, because obviously you've got to select that and then select the soul, and he has to have enough mana. I think there's a cooldown on it. There's another spell, which will be coming later in this series, which is severely overpowered and does the same thing twice every 5 seconds, something like that. Anyway, here's the final outcome. So, 54 kills, relatively happy with that. One of the guys only reached level 5, so make of that what you will. That was the first 2 that we finished off. Now, right at the end, Fargol had 1 soul, because... I mean, so I guess we took that mana whore. We also took the bombard, which was 4. So that just, without any other conversion process, just came straight over to our side. I feel a little bit mean, actually. Might have to increase some difficulty down the line. Anyway, that's Persephone's stuff. Sorry about the dragon, last minute there. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Relatively slow this fight, but next time we'll be coming back with James. We'll see if that's any speedier, although most of the James maps are pretty big, so possibly not. Anyway, see you then. Bye.